Hello constellation, hello beloved star cluster, welcome to Starchaeology Tarot. I am Desi, this is my channel, and it is no mistake that you have found yourself here. I would venture to say it was written in the stars. This is your January 2023 tarot reading. This is a zodiac reading, so it's good for all 12 signs. You can use the timestamps below to jump to your sun sign, moon, rising, and Venus. And I highly encourage you to watch all of your placements to get a clear picture of the unique puzzle that you are. Before we jump in, please like and subscribe. And with that, let's go. Hi Aries, welcome to Starchaeology Tarot. This is good for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. I'm looking for any messages for Aries. Aries, Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Three of Pentacles. Last card for Aries. Thank you. Knight of Wands, Aries. So Aries, the message here is pretty clear. Do not be discouraged by a lack of resources available to you in the new year. Maybe some of you have an expectation like something is going to be handed to you, or you're waiting for something to appear. You're waiting for something to materialize, like a doorway to materialize before you that you can open and step through. Almost like something you're waiting for something or someone to give you permission to start something new. To become something new. And I really mean a very physical transformation that maybe you've been holding off for yourself for some time now. And I mean a physical transformation either personally, like your literal body, how you show up in the world, but also just who you are, what you represent, what you do for a living. Maybe it's a new business. It's a new business opportunity. It's something that defines you in this physical world, not on really a soulful level, but it's something that you feel called to experience and bring into the 3D and really create here on this plane. And that is what you may be waiting for permission, or you're waiting for some key, someone to give you some kind of physical key. I love this interpretation of the Ace of Pentacles because it goes to show that even when we get that sum of money, even when we get that influx, that bonus or that physical doorway that might open for us, it's extremely transient and fleeting. And I think the beauty of the Ace of Pentacles is more so that it's like a placebo for our mindset. But we think we need this physical thing to start something new, but we don't really. It's like, it's a way we can trick our minds into starting something new. It also goes to show, this kind of like melting effect. It suggests that even the times that we do get those, very concrete opportunities, they aren't maybe made up of what we think they're made up of. They're maybe not as solid as we think they are. They're maybe not all that they're cracked up to be. They're maybe not worth the value that we projected upon them before receiving them. So that's just another reason not to put so many eggs in this basket. Now we see this in reverse, suggesting that this beginning, is being withheld from you in some way, or you feel blocked in this new physical beginning. Don't be persuaded by this, Aries. You are a pioneer, you are a go-getter, you are this Knight of Wands, this fire sign. You're the first in the Zodiac. You don't need to wait for permission. You don't need to wait for someone to open the door to you. You're the one who knocks the door down. And this is really a test, I think, more of who you are, Aries, and what you are bringing to the table in 2023 to show, to prove to yourself and to others. I say others because you have a team that is behind you here. 3 of Pentacles that is so aligned with what you want to be doing, where you want to be going. This is a real partnership. It's not really between 2 people necessarily. It could be, but it could be many more than that. It's a community. It's a true team. People that really share an aligned vision and mission, and you are very lucky to find yourself a part of this team, Aries. Whether this is at work, whether this is your family, whether this is a friend group, what is clear is that it's a blessed team, and every team member plays a very crucial role in creating something that will ultimately be much bigger than the sum of its parts, much bigger than anything that any one of you could create on your own. Now, that is what you put your faith in, Aries, not this doorway that you're waiting for to appear. It's the people around you, it's the team, it's the potential that you see in this team. This is a force to be reckoned with, and it might look like this is in contrast with this lack of Ace of Pentacles. Like this is the obstacle that your team faces, but it's a false obstacle. What all that is needed is the decision, the gumption to take action and move forward, and that's what the advice is. Knight of Wands. It's to say, race into battle and follow your gut instincts to guide your action in this situation. A Knight of Wands does not wait for that door to open. A Knight of Wands does not wait to be given a sum of money to depart on this adventure. The Knight of Wands waits for no one. The Knight of Wands is driven by this need to do what is right and what feels right to them in their gut, in their core. And nothing really can stop them in that way. And that's what I see in you, Aries, for the beginning of 2023 here. No apologies, moving towards what it is you know is right and aligned with you. And you don't need to apologize for the action that you are going to take, that you want to take. You don't need permission to take that action. The world is waiting for that action. Others are waiting for that action from you. Same way that you might be waiting for a signal from someone else, others are waiting for you. So flip that expectation onto yourself. Give yourself the value and power here, and then see what are you going to do with this responsibility, with this accountability. That's super exciting, Aries. Definitely check out your other signs, your moon, rising, and Venus to get a more complete picture of the unique puzzle that you are. Let me know what this is about for you. Comment in the comments below. I love you very much, Aries. Rooting for you as always. I'll see you next time. Taurus, welcome to your January reading. This is good for Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Calling in Taurus's guides for January 2023. Whoa, 3 of Swords in reverse. What are the other messages for Taurus for January? King of Cups in reverse. Whoa. Wow. All reversals. Ace of Wands in reverse and the Page of Pentacles, clarifying that. Okay, Taurus, this is a really interesting message for you for January, and I think potentially a really powerful message to start the new year with. 3 of Swords in reverse. For some of you, this can be heartbreak that's turned onto the self. meaning that maybe something that once was outside of you, an event, a person, something that wounded you, but you very much saw as separate from yourself, you've now internalized to the point that you are weaponizing that experience or that person's words against you. And so this can manifest as a kind of negative self-talk. Now, there's different interpretations for this if that's not resonant, so please keep watching, because this is just for a few members of the collective I'm hearing. And it's crossed with the King of Cups here, also in reverse, and that tells me that, ironically, this negative self-talk that you may be experiencing, you are trying to go about fixing that by controlling your emotions, by becoming very structured and rigid in what you allow yourself to feel and what feelings you tell yourself are okay. King of Cups, when it is upright, we see a very intellectually intelligent figure. So this is someone who is incredibly emotionally intelligent, in touch with their feelings, but is able to apply air energy to that water in a way that is incredibly empowering, self-empowering, and empowering to others. Meaning the thoughts that they conclude about their feelings are extremely logical and grounded and reasonable and fair. They're not being swept up in their feelings, allowing their feelings to call the shots and dictate their behavior, but rather they engage with their feelings in a very logical, rational way while still allowing themselves to feel those feelings. Now, this could be someone else in your life, or it is you. The thing is that this is in reverse, so it's the shadow side of that King of Cups character, meaning that air quality has been corrupted in a certain sense, or it's out of balance, meaning there's too much thought and logic and rationale and reason applied to those feelings, really to a fault, to the detriment of you and the people around you. There's too much judgment on those feelings. There's too much applied structure onto those feelings. There's a real need for control in those feelings that's moving towards an extreme that's unhelpful. And you're really, so Taurus, you may be using this reverse King of Cups energy to try to eliminate this negative self-talk. It's like, let me fight this with this kind of self-control that is, we might think on the outside is a good thing, but really it's kind of self-abandoning, because you're not really allowing these feelings to breathe. You're not really allowing this voice to speak. It's like, this negative self-talk is bad, so I have to squash it at all costs. And that's as unhelpful as if you were listening to every single word it said and acting on it. It's serving a purpose in you. The question is, how do you engage with it in a way that's healthy, that's not either of these two extremes. Now, if this is not negative self-talk for you, Taurus, this actually is beautiful. This is suggesting that you're coming into a time in January of forgiveness, of releasing heartbreak and sorrow, releasing past wounds, releasing fear, releasing attachment to old heartbreak, old pain that maybe you had been carrying around. And it's allowing you to see things more clearly. It's actually opening your eyes in a way that isn't skewing your vision, but clarifying your vision. And that's what we really want to see with the Three of Swords in reverse, is this release of the burden of heartbreak. And a big part of that has been how you have been engaging with that heartbreak, how you've been engaging with those feelings. Now, the obstacle is still this King of Cups in reverse energy of trying to control the feelings, trying to apply too much structure, to how you go about letting go of those feelings, how you go about releasing the fears and the old attachments. It's a fine line between the King of Cups upright and the King of Cups in reverse. And this may be the shadow side. This may be part of your shadow, Taurus, that is being triggered by the releasing of these emotions, because it can feel kind of wild to release past shadow emotions that we've come to be very attached to and come to be very comfortable and familiar with. So it can be very triggering to this reverse King of Cups who wants to really be super controlling about how we experience emotion and, how we feel things, how we release those things that we're feeling. And so the release of this may be looking not how you imagined it to be. It may not be so perfect and organized. It might be somewhat chaotic. It might feel like a cathartic waterfall type of release. And that, for the King of Cups, when the King of Cups is imbalanced in reverse, that could be incredibly difficult for that King of Cups part of you that's like, no, this is too much all at once. This needs to be structured. We need to build a dam. We need to build a dam to control how these feelings are released. You see the King of Cups in this like chaos of water and air, and it almost like the sky blends with the water in a way. It's like a hurricane, but he's in the eye of the hurricane, and there's a calm there and an acceptance there. When that is in reverse, that acceptance and calm is upside down, and the King of Cups is desperate to control the hurricane instead of finding a way to ground himself within it. So that's the struggle that you're facing in January. Now, what is the advice? I love this advice. We have the Ace of Wands in reverse, and it's paired with the Page of Pentacles, which tells me that there's something, maybe what you're feeling in sorting through this is a lack of motivation, a lack of inspiration, a lack of clarity about your own desires, what it is you want. That is very normal when we release attachments, because that leaves a gaping hole in our heart space, something that was taking up a great deal of heart, a great deal of our heart space, and really exist in the form of heartbreak or heartache. When that is released, then we have all this part of our heart that is not being used. And so we go, well, I realize now that everything that I wanted was built around the heartbreak that was living there. All the desire that belongs in that fourth chakra heart space was crafted around this heartache that was defining it, defining the things around it. And so when that goes away, sometimes that becomes the first time in a long time that we ask ourselves, oh, what is it that I really want, regardless of the pain I've experienced in the past? What is it that I really want? So this is you embracing this period of figuring out what you want and being okay with not knowing what you desire. That's a completely normal thing. If anything, this is an uncertainty that is important to experience. The advice here is embrace this uncertainty. And with the Page of Pentacles in reverse, which suggests learning from past failures, the advice is crystal clear. It's like, use this lack of motivation, use this lack of inspiration, this lack of knowing what you want, of desire, to learn about yourself in the midst of uncertainty. Learn from the past failures, learn from the things that you wish you had done differently, because now you can actually learn from them, because you're not stuck in this place of pitying yourself or abusing yourself, bullying yourself because of those past failures. And I put failures in quotes because they're failures when we're in this Three of Swords space. But when we're in a reverse Three of Swords space, that's when we can actually call them failures and not take that personally. Failure is a beautiful thing. So how do we now examine our failures from a place that's less personal, that's almost like clinical, that can empower us in figuring out the direction we want to move forward in. Super powerful place to start the new year, Taurus. I'm so excited for you. If you haven't liked or subscribed, please do that. Comment below. Let me know what this is about for you. I really want to hear from you guys. And check out your other placements if you haven't. Your sun, moon, rising, Venus, whatever placements you have not looked at yet. I love you very much, Taurus. I'm rooting for you as always, and I'll see you next time. Hi Gemini, welcome to your January 2023 tarot reading. This is good for Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Calling in Gemini's guides. What are the messages for Gemini in the new year? This beautiful new 2023. Eight of Pentacles in reverse. What are the messages for Gemini? Oh. Seven of Wands in reverse. Wow, those just kind of came right up. King of Wands and the Two of Cups. Oh, so cool to see no swords cards here. No air energy at all. This is really about getting you out of your head, Gemini, in January, and I think forcing you into a place outside of your comfort zone that is really going to expand you and progress your life in a very positive, aligned direction. So we see Eight of Pentacles in reverse. Oh, wow. Some of you are stepping off the path. You have been on the path for a very long time. You've kept your head down. You've been focused. You've been just focused on this process, this output. You know, keep on doing what you're doing. Keep trucking along. That's the phrases that I'm hearing have been kind of on repeat for you for a while. This is the moment where you question that. You question that path and you say, is this destination where I've been headed to? Is this still the same destination that I want to end up in? Because I've gotten really good at walking the path. I could walk this path like a pro for a long time, but it's going to get me to that destination eventually. And I don't know if that destination actually aligns with who I am now, how the path has changed me, how I've grown, who I've become. And that might call for a different destination for you. It's kind of, you're being called to critically think about the path that you're on, the destination you're headed to, and ask questions that you have not allowed yourself to ask, but also haven't felt a need to ask. This was right until it was wrong for you, is what I'm hearing. It was right until it was wrong. And what's very interesting is that the Seven of Wands is the obstacle to this stepping off the path for you. Because I think Gemini, in true Gemini fashion, when you step off the path, you want to figure out then what's the new path immediately. You want to be like, have a plan. It's almost like you want to have a plan lined up before you step off the path so that there is no uncertainty, so that there is no discomfort. And that just helps make that transition easier. If you have it all figured out before you go through the transition, like, let me plan out the transition perfectly, and then the transition will be easier. The thing is that's a kind of perseverance and a kind of fighting that I think it would be natural to you. But you're not feeling like you want to fight. You want to step off the path, and it almost feels like you're giving up, or like you're overwhelmed by the path, and you don't want to fight. You want to lay down this wand. I'm hearing like you don't want to defend the hive because that hive is not what you're a part of anymore. The whole point is like you're searching for a new hive. You're searching for some new community, a new place of belonging. So it feels like this overwhelm, like this sense of giving up, of not fighting, is an obstacle to you, because maybe it's out of character for you. It feels like there's something wrong with this, or there's judgment in this Seven of Wands in reverse feeling. Because the last thing in normal circumstances you would want to do when stepping off the path, when veering off, would be to then do nothing, or to lie down, to stop persevering in a way. But I want to invite you, Gemini, to reframe what this Seven of Wands in reverse means. It's not pushing, it's not persevering, but maybe it's allowing, maybe it's surrendering, and maybe that is what actually is needed in this situation, more than fighting, more than hacking your way through the forest to forge a new path. Maybe it's about stepping off the path because it's not right for you, and then seeing what path appears before you. Taking the road of least resistance, which, again, Gemini, might sound in some way like that is giving up to you, but I want to invite you to reconsider that definition. It doesn't have to be defined that way, and there's great strength in surrender. There's great strength in allowing. There's great strength and also awareness that is required to see, to really see the path of least resistance, to see where forces are taking you already, and see how you collaborate with those forces instead of, in true Seven of Wands upright fashion, fight those forces, swim upstream. Maybe this is a time for you to be harmonizing with nature, with a natural way of moving forward, of progression, instead of fighting it. And there may be some merit in there for you. I think a big part of that, a big clue there, has to do with embracing something that you truly want, that maybe you haven't admitted to yourself that you want. Saying like, oh, I have to take ownership over a desire that I have. I have to take ownership over that. I have to admit to myself that this desire is mine. I can't push that on someone else. I can't blame it on someone else. If it's in me, it's in me. And I'm going to take ownership over it. I have a feeling for some of you this has to do with partnership, because the Two of Cups came out with the King of Wands. So maybe what is in your heart, the desire you want to take ownership over, that instinct that you have, has to do with something surrounding partnership, whether it's pursuing a partnership or changing your current partnership. But it has to do with making some sort of lasting connection with someone, and for whatever reason, that is coming up in you right now for this new year. And this is about proving that you are sovereign in your desires, and you're sovereign in what you choose to make happen. It's very easy to say we want something and then do nothing about it, and then blame the forces that be for not bringing that desire to us. This is an interesting message, because it's like saying be clear about what it is you want, and also be reasonable. Be willing to compromise, to move in the ways that the universe is pushing you. You know, again, harmonize with the forces that be. You may think the universe is pushing you in directions that go against that thing that you want, but what would happen if you actually moved from a place of trust? What would happen if you saw the natural forces of things as working towards your greatest benefit? What if you truly believed the universe wanted what you wanted for yourself? Then would you question those moments of allowing and surrender? Or would you embrace them immediately because you know that they will also bring you closer, maybe even more quickly than if you did it your way, to the thing that you want most of all? That's the message for you, Gemini. Please like and subscribe if you haven't yet. I am rooting for you so hard, as always. Please leave me a comment below. I want to hear what this looks like specifically for you in your life. I want to know what you guys are going through. There's nothing more rewarding than connecting with all of you. So please open that channel of connection. I love you very much, Gemini, and I'm wishing you the happiest 2023. What a way to kick it off with a bang. I'll see you next time. Hi, Cancer. Welcome to your January 2023 tarot reading. This is good for Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Calling in Cancer's guides for this New Year reading. What are the messages for Cancer? Three of Pentacles. Whoa. Nine of Swords. And what's the advice for Cancer? Whoa. King of Cups. So, Cancer, what I'm seeing for you, you're coming into a very powerful team. You're either already part of this team or you're joining a specific team, a community in January that is going to elevate you, your work, your place in the world, what you create. Three of Pentacles, also known as the Architect card. There's a kind of divine intervention here when it comes to the magic of a team that's just in flow with each other, especially when creating something that they're all very passionate about. Vision and mission is aligned, and it opens up this magic doorway that we often, well, I don't know about often, but sometimes experience, where we create something that is so much bigger and more special than just the sum of its parts. And that happens in collaboration with others. It's something that we probably could not create alone in a vacuum. We needed the special elements that other people bring to the table to perfectly complement our special elements. And that's when magic really happens with this Three of Pentacles. So I'm seeing you like meeting the right people in January, connecting with the right people. There's like a networking aspect. It's like, how did I connect with this person in just the right way? How they just like randomly are in my inbox. You know, I met this person through so-and-so, and it was just so kismet how we connected, how we aligned, and how now it's leading to some opportunity, the creation of something that we both really care about. What your obstacle is in that is so reassuring, because there are no real obstacles for you, Cancer, besides the ones that exist in your own head. And those are, as you can see in this beautiful artwork in this deck, those obstacles are not of substance. You know, they are extremely vulnerable to the elements. They could melt away like that. And yet we treat them as if they are real swords that have the power to kill us, the power to really devastate us. But if we were to just open our eyes and really see them for what they are, we would recognize them as fears, figments of our imagination, that are more rooted in our own wounds, our past experiences, our failures, our trauma, our triggers, things that don't really threaten us or threaten our future success. So if there's any obstacle to have in this position, Cancer, this is the obstacle I would pick, because it's the obstacle of your own mind, and it's the one thing that you actually do have control over, the one thing you actually can change. If it was an obstacle that was outside of you, about outward circumstance, I would say then there's a lesson here in acceptance, but there's nothing to accept here. Except maybe accepting that you're going to have doubts and fears, and that they don't need to have any bearing on how you choose to move forward, how much faith you have, how much you believe in yourself, how much you pursue what it is you want to pursue. We will always have fears and doubts. The question is, do we allow those fears and doubts to rule us? Do we allow them to dictate our behavior? And that's where the King of Cups comes in as the advice, because the King of Cups, this is like so aligned with this message, Cancer. I want to hear what is going on for you in the comments, because this message truly couldn't be more clear to me. King of Cups is someone who's incredibly emotionally intelligent, and has this perfect balance of air and water. It creates this hurricane, effect. It's like, wow, I can't even separate the air from the water in this illustration. They kind of blend together, because the king is applying that air, that logic, rationale, thoughtfulness to his own feelings. And that's what creates emotional intelligence. It's not just being in your feelings and allowing yourself to feel your feelings, which is the Queen of Cups. It's allowing all of that to happen, allowing yourself to feel those feelings, and then pausing and remembering that you have a choice in how you choose to then engage with the feelings, how you choose to act, what you choose to do with the feelings. That is King of Cups power. That's King of Cups superpower. That is emotional intelligence. It's this awareness of our feelings, of what they're trying to tell us, and having a very nuanced understanding of those feelings. It's, fear is not telling me that, oh, I shouldn't go take that risk that I want to take. It's not deterring me from doing something that I really want to do. That's not the purpose of fear. The King of Cups recognizes that the fear is there because it's trying to teach us something about ourselves, not about the thing that we're afraid of, but help deepen understanding. And if anything, fear is a compass. It's a compass to show us where we still need to work, what still needs our self-care, what still needs our attention in ourselves, that we need to, beliefs that we may need to challenge, old identities we may need to question, old attachments we may need to question. King of Cups has that nuanced awareness, and that's what is being called to, in you. The Spirit is calling out this part of you to exercise this kind of authority over your own feelings. And it's not like control. If this isn't King of Cups in reverse, this isn't like, I'm going to be super controlling about what I let myself feel, or, it's not that. It's really allowing such a safe space for those feelings, but then being incredibly thoughtful about recognizing what the feelings are about, engaging with them in a very thoughtful way. Because when you do, then that's when you actually do see that these swords are immaterial, that they're not solid, that they're incredibly weak. There's not much there behind them. But that only comes from actually engaging with them in a curious, purposeful way. Super clear message, Cancer. Please let me know what this is about for you. I really want to connect with you guys. I love connecting with you guys. If you haven't liked or subscribed, just take a second and do that now. That would mean so, so much to me. I really want to grow this channel. I want to grow the star cluster. I love you very much. I'm wishing you the happiest 2023, Cancer, and I'll see you next time. Hi, Leo. Welcome to your January 2023 tarot reading. This is good for Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. I'm calling in Leo's guides. What are the messages for Leo for January 2023? Leo, Knight of Cups. I love it. Oh my God, this card is coming out for so many signs. 3 of Pentacles. Okay, Leo, Page of Swords in reverse. Okay, Leo, super interesting message for you in January. Knight of Cups, a card of creativity, romance, imagination, beauty, fantasy, really being lost in that inner world. Maybe your inner world is very active for you in January. You're getting caught up in the romance of life. You know, maybe it's literal romance, maybe it's a romantic hobby you have, you know, just a romantic existence. You're being very romantic in the way that you are visualizing your life, which is so beautiful and is so important, Leo, for actually creating a romantic life, for creating a life of beauty and creativity and emotional fulfillment, which is what the Knight of Cups, more than any knight, is in pursuit of. So you are pursuing that. Maybe it's become a bigger priority for you in January. You suddenly see, like, this is actually what life is about. You know, being able to have this grounding in love and creativity, and those two things take the cake. They're very, very important. Maybe they haven't had that priority for you in a while or ever. What's interesting is that we see the 3 of Cups in opposition to this as the obstacle in your imagining, in your fantasizing, which is so funny because these are both very positive cards, Leo, but maybe there's something about this 3 of Cups, teamwork, collaboration, you know, need for collaboration and learning from collaboration, and then implementing what you actually learn through other people and with other people, that feels like it is in the way of your fantasy. It's like, yeah, I could do this if I were completely alone, which is so funny because that is very Knight of Cups energy already, of just getting so lost in fantasy that they are unknowingly isolating themselves because they're so lost in their inner world that sometimes their outer world can suffer. And I see that as happening because we have the Page of Swords in your advice, which is in reverse and really brings attention to your need for better self-expression, and to really become more accountable with walking the walk. You know, Page of Swords in reverse sometimes can mean like all talk and no action, and really being careful about how you express yourself. Maybe too careful about how you express yourself. This is like, or maybe too free with how you express yourself, and that's why it leads to this kind of all talk, no action type of thing. This is more about, the advice is about aligning your self-expression with your action, and being very honest with yourself and with others about this. So honest with yourself and your own imagination, your own fantasies, and then honest also with your team, with your teammates, with your teammate, but really someone that you are collaborating with, working with, someone who you need to see maybe as a teammate that you aren't seeing as a teammate right now. And maybe that's why this is in the obstacle position, because right now you don't see them as being on your side, or you don't see them as someone that you need to have their back. You don't see them as someone who has your back, but they really do. It's like I'm almost, a message I'm seeing here, that I'm hearing here, Leo, is like, let them in on your fantasy. Let your teammate in on this inner world, this rich inner world that you're weaving, the things that you're dreaming about, the things that you're hoping for, like what lives in your heart. That's to be shared with this team. That should be a part of this team. They shouldn't be separate. These shouldn't be in opposition to each other, but for some reason you're making them in opposition. And it could be because of a lack of self-expression, Leo, difficulty with self-expression, difficulty with speaking, with words, with translating your thoughts and feelings into words, into conversation and dialogue. And then that sometimes can lead to this lack of alignment between talk and action, which then just makes this Knight of Cups, like burrowing into your inner world, into your inner fantasies, more extreme. And the Knight of Cups, we'd like to keep this Knight of Cups balance. You know, we don't want this to go in reverse. We don't want this to become living in a world of like these flights of fancy that aren't tethered at all into your reality, your real world. You have an opportunity to tether them with within a very important team. This could be a work team, it could be a creative team, it could be a romantic team, it could be your partnership. What's clear is that there's a bridge that needs to be built here instead of facing these two off against each other. There is great potential, Leo, for transformation in this realm for you this month, and I would love to hear how this looks specifically for you in your life. So please, please comment below, share, open up your heart. I love to hear from you guys always. And if you haven't liked or subscribed, please hit those buttons now. Your engagement with this channel goes a very long way, and it means a great, great deal to me. Check out your other placements, Leo, your Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. Especially if this reading was not resonant, it could be that the messages for you are in another placement this month. So please check those out. I love you very much, Leo. I'm rooting for you as always, and I'll see you next time. Hi, Virgo. Welcome to your January 2023 tarot reading. This is good for Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Calling in Virgo's guides. What are the messages for Virgo for January 2023? Virgo, we got the King of Pentacles. Come on. Nine of Swords, Virgo. Whoa. Okay, Virgo, we've got the Hermit in reverse and the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Okay, Virgo, so King of Pentacles, Nine of Swords, Wheel of Fortune in reverse, and it's clarified a bit by the Hermit in reverse. So King of Pentacles, and it's being crossed here with this Nine of Swords. So you find yourself, actually, okay, there's a few different messages for different members of the cluster here. Some of you are experiencing wealth this month. Maybe it's an influx of wealth, success, security. Your business is thriving. There's your leadership is paying off. There's something where you are leader. It's likely business. Your finances, maybe, however you'd like to frame it. Where your leadership is paying off, and it's you're reaping the rewards of that. Now, ironically, some of you in the midst of this success, you're stressed out about the success. Maybe it's like with more responsibility comes greater fear around, managing now these new resources you have, or this new influx of money, or this new responsibility, this new authority that you have. And so there is anxiety that is keeping you from really enjoying the abundance that you're experiencing in January. Which is ironic because I'm hearing for some of you, it's, you know, you had been like thinking, once I reach this point, then all my problems will be solved and I'll be able to be at peace. And really what's happening is that it's not about reaching that destination. You see firsthand that that your anxiety is a pattern, it's a way of life that actually isn't linked at all to your external conditions. It's something that can't be fixed by your external conditions. Rather, it's something that needs to be looked at inside of yourself unconditionally. I'm hearing like, I'll always find something to worry about. Even when things are going very well, I'll always find something to be really stressed out about. And so it's really keeping you from the present moment, Virgo. And for those of you for whom that message was resonant, I just want to jump to the advice right here before I get into the other message for this. For those of you who are not experiencing success in January, the advice for if you are, but you're still finding yourself caught up in these worry cycles and what do I do now that I have this money, now that I have this authority, now that I have this job. Wheel of Fortune is so much about, especially in reverse, breaking negative cycles, breaking certain cycles. The advice is to break the cycle of this anxiety. So many of you were hoping for this success to end the cycle of anxiety that you have, because you were very attached to this destination, to this endpoint. What you realize when you still find yourself in the place of anxiety when this success comes is that the anxiety is what you are actually more committed to, more attached to than the result, than the good news coming your way. So the cycle that needs to be broken here is the cycle of worry, the cycle of anxiety. And it's very linked for you to withdrawal, isolation, loneliness. This is also the Hermit in reverse. So this isn't the positive aspects of the Hermit that have to do with self-exploration and self-expansion and solitude and reflection. This is the Hermit in reverse, where that goes to an extreme, where we're actually in a place of isolation, loneliness, withdrawal from people, maybe in a way that we think is good for us or good for others, like let me spare them my burdens, but and also vice versa, you know, I don't have the bandwidth to really deal with other people. But really that's an excuse that keeps us trapped in a negative cycle of anxiety, addicted to our own problems. And the truth is that if we were able to reach out to others to break through this kind of self-withdrawal, and connect to support systems and to people outside of our own minds, then we might be able to see the folly in our ways a little more easily. We maybe wouldn't live so much in our heads, which would allow us to then be more present and enjoy the ride of this abundance, this success that we're experiencing in January. So the biggest advice is to focus on breaking this cycle of anxiety and worry. And really that comes down to thought patterns, the things that you're thinking and the words that you are speaking to yourself. What are the words you're speaking to yourself about this new success, about this new security, this abundance? That might give you some clues as to how to go about changing your state of mind and staying more present. Also, the Wheel of Fortune can signify a resistance to change, which is ironic since the thing that we've been hoping for is this King of Pentacles change, this influx of money, leadership, abundance, something that puts us in a powerful position with resources at our fingertips. That's the change we've been hoping for. And then it happens and we are suddenly resistant to it, resistant to the thing that we have said we wanted, because to be happy is forcing us outside of our comfort zone, or to be at peace, or to be accepting of our own good fortune is pushing us outside of our comfort zone of worry and stress and anxiety. That's the cycle that we are actually more attached to than our own personal goals. Now, for those of you who are not experiencing success, abundance, an influx of money, etc. this month, this message is a bit different. What we're seeing here is that success for you is waiting in January on the other side of your anxiety and worry. So it's really, this obstacle is what's keeping you from manifesting this in the 3D. I think those of you who resonated with the first interpretation, it's almost miraculous that you were able to experience this with this kind of thinking. It's like you created success in spite of yourself, which is a real testament to how powerful you are. Those of you who are not able to manifest this because of the worry is also a testament to how powerful you are, but how powerful a different aspect of you is, which is the aspect of this kind of negative thinking and self criticism and abuse. So this is really an invitation for you to shift that power dynamic to the part of you that believes in yourself more than the power that doubts you, that doubts yourself. We all have that light and shadow within us. We all have those two dueling voices. But we need to sometimes very consciously choose who is going to have the upper hand in those conversations, in those conflicts. Otherwise, we end up creating our reality by default. If we succumb to the doubts and fears, the fearful voice that is incredibly powerful at times. So this is just saying that if you want to be experiencing this, the only thing standing between you and that success is your thoughts, are the words that you speak, the words that you believe, the words you speak to others and yourself, the thoughts you think. And the biggest way to eliminate this kind of worry is through breaking this negative cycle, this negative thought cycle, which just seems to kind of perpetuate bad luck, or perpetuate things not going your way. At least it seems like they're not going your way. But there's clearly a part of you that does want it to go this way, and it's the mind, because the mind seeks more of what it knows. And if what you know is anxiety and worry, then the mind is being validated and validated and validated the more you create reasons to worry. So again, that advice has to do, a big clue of that, breaking that cycle, means looking into the way that you withdraw from others, withdraw from the world, the way you isolate yourself, how lonely you might be feeling in some context of your life, and see if you can reverse that. Actually make an effort to not withdraw, to stay present, to challenge yourself, to reach out and connect when you're struggling. This also could just be a kind of isolation in how you think about yourself. I'm hearing for some of you, you think like there's just something wrong with me, or almost like this Job-like perspective, like I'm born to struggle. Like that's a belief I have about myself that's incredibly isolating. It's easy for other people, but it's not easy for me. These are very hermit in reverse beliefs that you might be in a cycle of repeating to yourself, and that is what is standing in the way between you and your authority as this provider, as this source of security for yourself, this leader, this business leader. This is a part of you that is waiting to be realized if you haven't realized it yet. And this message is so powerful, Virgo, because it just suggests that there really isn't anything in your way except for yourself. Luckily, you are the one thing that you can change in this world. So I invite you to try your darndest to change. Super empowering message. Let me know what this is about for you, Virgo. I'd love to hear. I love to connect with you guys. If this was resonant in any way, please hit that like and subscribe button. Share this channel with anyone who is important to you, who you think could use this kind of support right now. And yeah, I'm just grateful to get to do this with you guys on a monthly basis. I encourage you to watch your other placements, your Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, especially if this wasn't resonant. Could be another placement is more resonant with you this month. And that also gives you just a more complete picture of the very unique puzzle that you are. You are a lot more than your sun sign. So please, please check out those other placements using the timestamps below. I love you very much, Virgo. I'm rooting for you as always, and I'll see you next time. Hi Libra, welcome to your January 2023 tarot reading. This is good for Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Calling in Libra's guides. What are the messages for Libra for January 2023? Three of Swords, Libra. Oh, the Lovers. Upright. Card for Libra. Seven of Pentacles. Wow. Okay, Libra, super clear message for you this month. This is going to be short and sweet, I can already tell. Three of Swords, the Lovers, and the Seven of Pentacles. Funny, right when I said short and sweet, I'm already getting downloads actually that kind of complicate this for different members of the cluster. So definitely listen up and listen through. Three of Swords. Libra, you are experiencing emotional pain this month. We find you in a place where I'm hearing some of you are recovering from some sort of betrayal, whether that was a betrayal from someone else or a betrayal of yourself. Some way that you maybe betrayed yourself, betrayed your interests, betrayed your values. Others of you, this is just pain or heartbreak that you're carrying around with you this month. It could be something that happens this month, but I'm also hearing that for some of you, this is just something that you've been carrying around, kind of toting around for a while now, holding on to past pain, you know, something that someone said to you that really pierced your heart in a very deep way. And that wound, it's like what I'm seeing with this imagery especially, it's like your heart is pierced and it hurts so much that you don't want to take the time to pull the sword out. So you're just trying to move through life as usual with this sword through your heart. And there's no way really for you to move on from that attack, from that injury, because it's still active. You know, you haven't taken the sword by the hilt and pulled it out for fear of it causing even more pain. You're just kind of trying to go about business as usual, but this wound still is very present for you. This could be past heartbreak. I think for some of you, this is heartbreak regarding a relationship, a love relationship. I think others of you, this is just regarding a deep connection, a soul connection in your life. So we have soul connections with people who are lovers, but also are friends, parents, children, siblings. You know, basically someone who is on your soul journey with you, with whom you have, with whom you are doing some work in this life, healing some certain things. You have an agreement with this soul, and there is definitely something happening. I'm going to call it a trial or tribulation that's happening in January, that is particularly challenging. Now, that's true for some of you. It's just that Three of Swords pain is about a lover's connection. Others of you, listen up, there's a different message here. And definitely keep listening through, because the advice is incredibly powerful and uplifting, and I don't want you guys to miss out on that, just because we're focusing on really hearing and seeing the pain that you're feeling right now. Don't push that under the rug. There's nothing bad about hearing painful feelings that you're having, and affirming those feelings. You know, if you're resistant to even hearing me talk about these painful feelings, that's a sign that that you are just kind of trying to go about business as usual with this sword straight through your heart, and there is an effort there to ignore what is happening. So if that's your instinct and you have this kind of innate resistance, I really challenge you to keep listening through. Others of you, you have this pain that you're carrying around with you, and it really is inconvenient at this time in January, where you meet someone new, where you are coming into union with someone new, a new lover's connection. Whether this is a very important defining romantic relationship in your life that's long term, it's like you're reuniting with a soulmate with whom you have a lot of work to do and lessons to learn, and there's magic in the connection, and you sense that this is a big deal. Also could be a soulmate in a new friend, you know, a friendship that has been destined to be realized for a long time here. Could also be any kind of lover's relationship, again, as I mentioned, a parent, a child, a sibling, but it's some kind of new deep connection with this other person, really glimpsing the divine through this relationship. That's what the Lovers is all about. Not just focusing on romantic love and the beautiful parts of romantic love, but really just what it is to be in a state of love, when we have another person who helps us access that. And what does being in love mean? It means being aware of the divinity within ourselves, being able to access the most divine part of ourselves. We often think we need another person to do that. Ultimately, we don't. But in our human form, it sure helps to do that in relationship with other people. Having relationship with someone else is a life hack for accessing that kind of divinity and deep well of love within ourselves. And it, again, does not have to be romantic love, but for some of you, it is coming in. You are coming into union with someone who is extremely important to you and plays a very big role in your journey, in your soul journey. So that is incredibly inconvenient. It feels to you, considering how much pain and heartbreak you're still carrying with you, and what a burden it is to carry around the pain that someone else maybe left in their wake. I'm also hearing for some of you, this is like this is leftover from a traumatic relationship with a parent, childhood trauma that now is being triggered as you're meeting a potential partner. This could be from so long ago. I mean, it doesn't have to be, a love relationship necessarily. What's clear is that your trauma is affecting how you are coming into union in this new relationship, or it's something at least that you're very aware of. And maybe you're just aware of it. Maybe it's being triggered because it knows that trauma in you is shaking in its boots, because it knows that in the light of this new relationship, it's going to come under intense criticism and intense challenge, and maybe booted from its home in your heart space, where it's made itself very comfortable and has become part of your identity, and that you, whether consciously or subconsciously, have become very attached to. So we don't really have a conflict here, Libra, is what I'm trying to say. You know, if it feels like, how do I let myself love again? Or how do I trust anyone? Or how do I let myself be vulnerable with this person? Or how do I, you know, repair something with this important person in my life after all the horrible stuff, the painful stuff we've been through? Those things are not at odds. They're there to help each other. The person is there to heal the pain. The relationship is there to heal the pain. The pain is there to set you up for a spectacular relationship. The pain is there to challenge you to rise above it and learn about yourself and glimpse that divine part of yourself with the help of this aid, this other person, you know, the person who's staring back at you in the mirror. Because that's all relationship really is. It's not really about that other person. It's about what they reflect back to us about ourselves. And that is the beauty of human connection, and why we actually do our best work when we're healing in relationship. We often have this thing in our this belief in our culture, like, I need to heal myself before I can be with anyone. I need to be alone and fix myself before I can enter a relationship. And that's a very irrational, and I would venture in some cases even to say a kind of toxic belief, where we're putting really it's kind of perfectionist pressure on ourselves to somehow fix ourselves in this lifetime, before allowing ourselves the happiness and light and dark of being in relationship with other people, which is what we're here to do. It's backwards. It's very backwards. We learn the most in relationship. It's easy to feel like we've healed everything in a vacuum, and then we enter a relationship and everything is triggered again. It's because we did that work, or I'll say we did that work alone. You know, not applied to anything really in our real life. It's like doing work in our imagination within ourselves. And then as soon as we get an opportunity to actually show what we've learned and walk the walk, we fail because we didn't actually get to do this in relationship. So the advice here, regardless of what was resonant with you in this first part, Libra, the advice is so uplifting and so important, and it's just to, if you need encouragement right now, this is about perseverance and really taking the time to invest in this relationship, whatever the relationship is. Invest in it and have a long-term view about where it could take you, which is very built into the Lover's card, period. This is not a relationship that comes and goes in your life. If you knew that this relationship was going to be with you for a while, how would that change your behavior? It's like having that kind of long-term view as opposed to short-term view. And how does that change your expectations, rather? Because it should. There's a kind of concern for sustainability and security when you're looking at things long term, versus when you're operating from this more fearful place of like, this could end any second. You know, how do I get like what I want now. Like, how do I get this instant gratification? That's a very short-term view of relationships, of healing, and this is not the place for that. This is, the advice here is to keep persevering. I mean, really, just keep pushing through. The beautiful thing, though, I mean, that's what sevens in general are in tarot are about, is pushing through a particularly tedious stage. But the Seven of Pentacles in particular, there's an aspect to this card that tells us that our perseverance is already paying off, because we've invested so much in the early parts of planting this garden, which seemed to be the hardest part, to get that plant to break through the soil, to get it to survive its infancy and get to this place where it's a robust plant, where it's more likely to survive. There's momentum and inertia that we've already built. And we think that we have to keep micromanaging ourselves, what we're creating, in the same way that we did when this was just 2 inches tall. But the truth is we don't. Our perseverance changes as we change. Our perseverance changes as our progress changes. This is to say, still keep trying, but maybe don't keep trying in the way that you've been trying. Maybe if you're being called to reevaluate and change how you're moving through the world, how you're engaging with this pain, how you're engaging with this person, this is an opportunity to stop micromanaging the things that already have inertia, the things that already have momentum. Trust in yourself and in the progress that you have made, that I know that I've locked that in, and it's going to continue for me. So now I can put my attention and focus elsewhere, in other places of the garden that need my vigilance and attention. This is like about balance between that kind of controlling perseverance, or persevering control, however you'd like to see it, versus letting go, and how those two things can happen simultaneously, and often have to happen simultaneously, when we are prioritizing things and when we are accepting the way that things are changing. Accepting one area of our lives allow us then to fight through other areas of our lives. If we're just fighting all around, it's like we're not going to accomplish anything, because we don't know what our fight is. We're fighting the things that need to be accepted, instead of accepting those things and then putting all of our energy in the areas that actually are being called to be challenged, are being called to be fought. So really look at your energy, your focus, where it's going, and see what deserves and needs to be, see what requires your perseverance, Libra, and let go of the things that do not. Trust in your progress thus far, in the things that already have momentum and inertia. You can take your hand off certain wheels so that you can take control of others. I would love to hear how this looks for you specifically in your life, Libra. Wow, how funny that I said this was going to be a quick one, and this is the longest one I have had so far. Guess there was a lot of messages, a lot of downloads for this one. Please let me know what's going on in your life, Libra. I want to hear. I want to connect with you. I'm really rooting for you in this one. This is a powerful way to start the year. If you haven't liked or subscribed, please hit those buttons right now. Share this channel with anyone who is invested in their self-development and evolution, and has a healthy curiosity about their own journey and growth. I love you very much, Libra. I'm rooting for you as always, and I'll see you next time. Hi, Scorpio. Welcome to your January 2023 tarot reading. This is good for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. I'm calling in Scorpio's guides. What are the messages for Scorpio for the new year? Okay, Scorpio, we have the Seven of Wands in reverse. my God. Three of Swords upright. Okay, and we have the Knight of Pentacles. Scorpio, oh, you are deep in your Scorpio selves right now, and I love it. I hope this sheds some light on some of those deep shadows that we're seeing coming up in the beginning of 2023. So we have the Seven of Wands in reverse here. It feels like some of you feel like you're tired of fighting. You really want to just set down your sword. There's a feeling of wanting to give up, of just being so overwhelmed. So overwhelmed that it's just like, I'd rather just, I can't do it anymore. I just want to rest. It all seems too hard. It's all overwhelming. I think another way of seeing this is also being overly protective, which in itself is exhausting. It's a full-time job when we're being overly protective of someone, or overly protective of our heart, or overly protective of someone else's feelings. Hello, people pleasers. You know, this upright can be the Advocate card, and so we see a dark side of, or the shadow side of the Advocate card, which is just being an advocate to a fault. Maybe where we're sacrificing ourselves in the process, or we are, no, I think that's it. I think sacrificing ourselves in the process, even if the thing that we're trying to protect is ourselves, and we're not realizing the harm that we're doing to ourselves in the name of protection and security and needing to be safe. Some of the ways that we seek safety are incredibly misguided. The ways that we seek security are incredibly misguided. So it could be that is out of balance right now. Giving up, again, overwhelmed, or just overly protective. The obstacle, so that's how you're feeling. The obstacle we're seeing is the Three of Swords, which is no surprise here. It's heartbreak, it's pain, it's sorrow, and it's hurt. It's hurt, the burden of hurt, the burden of pain that either someone inflicts upon you this month, that maybe catches you off guard because you're already in this kind of weakened state, and then maybe something happens that just feels like, oh, this is so much more painful because of the state that I'm in right now. Others of you, there's nothing that's necessarily new that's happening. Three of Swords often indicates past hurt, past pain, words, hurtful words that we carry around in our hearts with us that can be years old. It can be a lifetime old. Whether they're words that were spoken by someone else to us, or words that we have, that somehow arose within ourselves, that we've been repeating to ourselves on loop for a very long time. And they are negative belief systems, hurtful belief systems that we engage in ourselves. And they are the crux of our emotional pain and sorrow and grief. So maybe there's something there in that realm of pain that's being triggered for you this month. And there's different messages here for you, because for some of you, that is the obstacle that is causing this kind of giving up, this sense of overwhelm. It's an obstacle that's an emotional obstacle, purely emotional. So it's arising within you, it's being triggered, it's not necessarily linked to what you are experiencing in your environment. And I think that's very important to recognize, Scorpio, that it's not necessarily a reflection of what is actually happening in your reality, but rather what is being triggered in your inner reality, and how that is skewing your vision of your outer reality. Others of you, this is a bit more of a nuanced read, so bear with me, but there's a feeling of wanting to give up, of being overwhelmed, wanting to give up. And another term for giving up is surrender. You know, we wouldn't normally see the Seven of Wands in reverse as that, but it's fascinating how we think of the phrase giving up, and that kind of has negative connotations built right into it. But maybe there's something that you do want to give up, that comes from a very beautiful and noble place in you. Maybe there's something, maybe that sense of overwhelm is a signal that you do need to stop fighting. You do need to stop trying, which is something that may be hard to hear for you. And the pain of giving something up, the pain of no longer trying at something, especially for those of you who have a real perfectionism streak, which we see here at the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, which is in the advice, which is this perfectionism rearing its head. And we'll get to that in a second. But for those of you who do suffer from a kind of perfectionism, the biggest obstacle you have to giving something up, even when it deserves to be given up, is the pain that causes you. The intense pain that causes you, intense grief, intense sorrow, just to stop trying at something. Wow, maybe that was Freudian slip. But to stop trying at something or someone. You know, I think maybe Scorpio, there is an equating of trying with being good, with being virtuous, like always trying your best. But are there scenarios in your life where not trying or stopping trying is actually more virtuous, is actually what the situation calls for? That could be what you are facing right now, and your biggest obstacle to really giving up something that needs to be given up is your pain, the pain that instills in you, the pain that triggers in you. You know, what stories does that trigger in you when you think about giving up? What is that? What do you start saying to yourself about yourself? What's the story that you start writing about this situation and how it's going? I think it's important to recognize that if that is the obstacle you need to be concerned about with this, that obstacle is something that you have complete authority over. You are the owner of your own heart. You decide which words you allow to pierce it. You decide what swords you leave in, what swords you pull out. And avoiding pain is not reason to not do something that maybe needs to be done. I think that message is simple. The advice, the Knight of Pentacles here, in reverse, when it's in reverse, we see that referring to self-discipline, perfectionism, often both of which are causing us to feel stuck in some way, to feel like we're in some kind of rut, like we're not moving forward, like we're not progressing. And so I think that this is suggesting that maybe there's a kind of perfectionism that goes along with these feelings of giving up, the feelings of overwhelm, the feelings of being overly protective, if that first interpretation was what resonated with you. And also maybe even being stuck in a a kind of pattern of self-discipline or perfection that's affecting maybe negatively how you engage with pain. What negative feelings, darker shadow feelings you allow yourself to feel and work through, and what you hold space for versus what you don't. This is I think the question that this Knight of Pentacles in reverse asks, in the name of advice and guidance, is how is maybe self-discipline gone wrong, or perfectionism negatively impacting your current situation around fear, heartbreak, sorrow, fear of grief, fear of heartbreak, and the prospect of giving up, or the feelings of being overwhelmed. And if you can answer that question, then that's a direct compass to what your next steps are. So definitely take some time to meditate on that and reflect on that. I hope that gives you some helpful next steps for the new year. It also puts you, I think, in a pretty empowering place, Scorpio, to start the year off on a very honest foot. And I mean honest as in honest with yourself, about where you are, meeting yourself where you are, and acknowledging pain or fear of pain that needs to be acknowledged. Definitely comment below. Let me know what this is about for you, Scorpio. I want to hear. If you haven't liked or subscribed, take a second now to do that. Send this channel to anyone who's invested in their self-growth, and their journeys, their personal journeys. I love you very much, Scorpio. I'm rooting for you as always, and I'll see you next time. Hi, Sagittarius. Welcome to your January 2023 tarot reading. This is good for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Whoa. Okay, King of Swords, 10 of Wands. Give me one more card for Sagittarius. Okay. The Three of Swords in reverse. So, Sag, this is interesting. I'm seeing King of Swords in reverse here. So this could this could mean you or someone in your life. A way of thinking about King of Swords is someone of quiet power. In reverse, when we see this, quiet power, someone who's very thoughtful and thought-driven and doesn't necessarily share what it is they're thinking, but you can sense the power, the inner power that exudes from them. This also could be about knowing inner truth, some kind of inner truth that does not come from a logical place, a rational place, but it still is in the realm of swords. It still is truth, but it emerges from within. Okay, so let's just start with those two interpretations. If that was resonant with you, this is like you have some kind of inner truth that has made itself clear, or some quiet power that is arising within you. And it feels like because of that, you have this burden now because of what you know. Because of what you know you have to do. And there's this burden, this responsibility that you're carrying around, that's requiring just a lot of hard work. It's like a hard road to walk when you actually accept this inner truth, when you acknowledge the inner truth. It could also be that it's a lot of hard work and you feel overwhelmed managing your life around this inner truth. Like if you're not acknowledging it, or if it's there but I'm still seeing you like committed to other belief systems or committed to other people's truths. And so it feels particularly burdensome because you haven't really allowed yourself the freedom of letting this inner truth change your life. So that's where the hard work and burden is coming from. It's like, how do I know this on the inside and still pretend on the outside? And that feels obviously overwhelming. I think for others of you, the inner truth is just causing stress in some way. Another way of thinking about it is just stress. And maybe it's the pursuit of that inner truth that's causing stress. And yet for others of you too, there's another interpretation here, that your success and achievement that comes at the cost of a lot of hard work is on the other side of this inner truth. So oh wow, there's a lot of downloads. Different members of the constellation are getting different things here. But for some of you, it's like success and achievement that you work really hard for. It's like, it doesn't matter how hard you work. You need to acknowledge some kind of inner truth that maybe you've been ignoring up until this point, or exude some kind of inner power that you've been giving away. And you can't have this kind of achievement, no matter how hard you work, if you don't acknowledge something that you know deep inside of you about your path, about what you need to be doing. And maybe there's fear in doing that because you think, oh, if I do that, then I won't be successful. And that's where the conflict and struggle is. Now, for others of you, a download came as I was describing that last interpretation. For others of you, yes, for others of you, it feels like your inner truth and this success are pitted against each other. So it feels like, in order to acknowledge your inner truth and inner power, you sacrifice all your hard work. You sacrifice the possibility for achievement, for finally getting the payoff for all of your hard work. And vice versa. If you choose to really keep walking this path and keep holding all these burdens and these responsibilities and keep working so hard to reach that achievement, which is you're very close to, it's at the end. If you do that, then you're sacrificing some form of inner power or some truth that has arisen within you. It's like you're ignoring that. You're betraying that part of yourself. It feels like those things are at odds with each other. The advice for this is to release fear, is to release past fears, to release past rejections, past heartbreaks, past sorrow, past grief that may be affecting the way that you're pitting these things against each other in your mind right now. Three of Swords in reverse in advice can also mean forgiving. So maybe there's someone, and I feel like yourself might be part of it for some of you, but there's someone that needs your forgiveness here. Who comes to mind when I say that forgiveness is needed? That is the doorway. Being in the advice position, that is the doorway to resolving this conflict, starting from a place of forgiveness. So maybe there is some kind of grudge that's being held in this conflict as well, or there's resentment or anger being held, being put in this kind of position, and forgiveness is the doorway to resolving that. Now, for those of you for whom that first interpretation of the King of Swords was not resonant, the King of Swords could also mean a kind of misuse of power, or someone who maybe says that they are the truth or they know the truth, but they're not acknowledging the very slim chance that even they have as this incredibly powerful intellect of being wrong, of being flawed. So this could be someone in your life. It also could be you, Sag. It could be especially people with great judgment, and who know they have great judgment. When the King of Swords is reversed, that's really when our our human flaws step into play, and we're unable to sometimes see our own bias that is never going to go away, no matter how great of a judge we are, no matter how connected to truth we are. The King of Swords upright has this awareness. The King of Swords upright knows what a great judge they are, and also has full awareness of their own potential for error. When we see this in reverse, we see ego being blown out of proportion and no longer being able to acknowledge that personal potential for error. And that leads to misuse of power, in mental kind of manipulation. So this could be someone in your life who you feel is manipulating you in some way, Sag. It could be you gaslighting yourself in some way. You misusing your own power in some way. Maybe in a way that puts too much burden on you, that spreads you too thin, that makes you feel like you owe it to other people to carry these wands for them, to carry these commitments, to solve their problems or carry their dreams to the finish line instead of yours. And if that is the case, yeah, if this is someone whose judgment is not aligned with the truth right now, your biggest obstacle in this situation is the responsibility that you feel, either due to this part of yourself or due to this other person. The responsibilities that you are carrying, the burdens that you're carrying, the way that maybe you are committed to hard work and to success, and that is making you choose between that commitment to hard work and your achievement versus what the actual truth is. Like having to distinguish what role this person or this voice in you is playing in your hard work and achievement, and seeing if they're at odds with each other. Are they egging each other on in some way? Are they toxically related in some way? And again, the piece of advice, Three of Swords, is, of course, forgiveness and the releasing of fear, the releasing of pain, the releasing of the memory of past heartaches that make us move through life small and limited instead of open-hearted. We can still acknowledge painful things that happen to us and grief that we have, but still move forward in life in an open-hearted place. This is not the most open-hearted place to be moving forward from. 10 of Wands, while it is about hard work and reaching success, sometimes we we walk that path from a very limited place because we've taken on too much burden and too much responsibility that we're carrying with us, that we believe we need to carry with us, so much so that it blinds our own vision forward. And so that feels very much like moving forward with a closed heart versus an open heart, like feeling almost like I have to have these obligations if I want to be successful. I have to I have to stay committed to all these things that maybe I don't care about or aren't aligned with my values if I want to be successful. So Three of Swords in reverse is about releasing the fear of what would happen if you put some of those wands down, if you did regain your vision, if you spoke up to this person in this powerful position who may be not the arbiter of truth in your life that they believe themselves to be. Whether they're outside of your body or they're a voice in your own head. I hope that is clear, Sag. I want to hear what this is specifically for you, so please comment below, let me know. Hit like and subscribe if this was resonant, and check out your other placements, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. You are so much more than just your sun sign. So definitely check out your other placements for more insights. Love you very much, Sag. I'm rooting for you as always. Happy New Year. Happy birthday, Capricorn. Welcome to your January 2023 reading. This is good for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. What are the messages for Capricorn? Whoa. Knight of Wands. Whoa, they're all flipping in. Three of Pentacles in reverse. Whoa. Judgment. Okay, Capricorn, so we have the Knight of Wands, Three of Pentacles in reverse, and Judgment. I think we have a pretty simple message here for January, and it is a beautiful one. What a great message to have Judgment here in your guidance and advice when starting a new year. So much of that new year mentality is about letting go of things in the past that don't serve us anymore, and that is what Judgment is all about. What I'm seeing here, the conflict that you're facing and that you're being called to rise above in January, is this, I'm hearing lust for life. There's something that you want that is making you feel alive, Capricorn, that you just want to take action, you want to go after. It's instinctual, it's in your gut. Your gut is leading it. It's being led by passion. Just this, it's really the light side of that masculine need to take action. Knight of Wands is the best version of that possible. We often think about this kind of action as being impulsive, and maybe impulsive in a negative way, but there is a place for impulsiveness and spontaneity, and the Knight of Wands captures that beautifully, especially when that impulsiveness is supporting our instinct, a deep place of knowing that rises beyond logic and rationale. And sometimes we need to act impulsively before we have too much time to think about it, and then become fearful and become doubt-ridden, or be able to identify mentally like the problems with this plan. And sometimes that can benefit us a great deal in risk-taking. Just being so connected to the energy and passion and lust for adventure, lust for life, and that gut instinct that we have, that there is no space for that kind of thought that can lead to debilitating fear, fear that ultimately limits us. And it could be, that's not necessarily to say like this leads you perfectly on the path to success with no obstacles whatsoever. But sometimes we need to take action in order to get us outside of our comfort zones, to put us in a place of uncertainty and be facing successes and failures alike. But it needed that impulsiveness to get us to that place on the journey in the first place. So I'm seeing that for you in January. Now, what is the obstacle in this is a kind of discord, lack of harmony, maybe in a team that you're working with, a team that you're collaborating with, whether that is a work team or it's a family, or it's a partner. But there's a lack of harmony here. There's misalignment in values, in mission, in vision, in communication. And maybe maybe you don't actually have a team that's not working out, Capricorn. Maybe it's just that you're simply working alone, and that you wish you weren't alone. The reason that we have this card here instead of the Hermit is because there's an expectation for a team on your part. There's this desire, like, oh, if I weren't doing this alone, it would be so much easier. If people just agreed with me, if people didn't, if I had a team at my back, like, then of course I could achieve this desire that is propelling this instinct, this instinctual action in me. And so we see the lack of that team as some sort of obstacle. But what would happen if we never had the expectation for a team in the first place? What if we had seen this as a solo mission from the start? Would we be moving through it differently? Would we be moving through it more optimistically? And even embracing the joy of being alone, of doing something solo, and being able to revel in our own personal power in this journey, in this adventure. The advice is judgment, and that is, I mean, so beautiful. Whatever is leading you to this, whatever's causing, Capricorn, this focus on the lack of the team, focus on the disharmony, focus on the discord, the disagreement, you know, whatever is making you see that as an obstacle, what will heal that, what will make that go away is answering the call of your inner calling and accepting it as it is. Accepting if it's a solo journey, and instead of seeing that as some negative thing, seeing it as yours and owning it and being like, of course this is just for me. Like, that is part of my calling. Like, that's what's written for me. So of course I accept it. There's perfection in that. Judgment is about like answering the call of that inner calling. And when you answer that call for an inner calling, that's when a rebirth follows. You know, the longer we don't answer that call and we say, oh, this isn't going how I wanted it to go, or how my ego expected it to go, then the longer we keep ourselves in this state of purgatory, as opposed to enjoying heaven, like a utopia on earth that we could be experiencing simply through acceptance and also forgiveness. Judgment is all about forgiveness, all about absolution, you know, absolving someone of their sins, of whatever mistakes they're carrying around, or mistakes, wrongdoing that you're holding them guilty for. And it could be the things you're holding yourself guilty for, the things that you're focused on that you screwed up, you know, the things that you're like, I wish I'd done this differently. It could be self-forgiveness. It could be just forgiving yourself, really forgiving your higher self for not doing things the way your ego wanted it to do, you know, the way your ego wanted it to do things. Forgiving yourself for walking a path that didn't look like the path your ego wanted you to walk. It's the ego that's the part of us that tries to control, and it's the divine part of us that trusts and accepts and co-creates and collaborates, and is accepting of change and different directions. And the ego is the one that's resistant to that change and is white-knuckling its way to the things that we believe we want. So I think another very big part of this judgment card in advice is an invitation for you to pass judgment on the past in a way that supports your present moment and your future. If you are judging things in a way that keeps you tethered to the past, anchored in the past, and therefore keeps your present moment and your future limited, then you're not judging things appropriately. You're judging things in a way that agitates your ego in a certain way. And we don't really want to agitate the ego in any way whatsoever. We kind of just want it to be an empty boat. Oftentimes the way we agitate the ego is by judging things in a way that allows us to hold grudges, to not forgive, to not accept, you know, to remain in a place of resistance. But if we were to re-examine our past and judge things, usually through eyes that are more loving, gentle, give other people the benefit of the doubt, give ourselves the benefit of the doubt, then we give ourselves a chance to let go of the past, to really leave the past in the past and move on to this next chapter of life, move on to the afterlife, the rebirth, experiencing that heaven, experiencing that utopia. And your heart of hearts knows this. Your gut knows this. Your gut instinct that is driving you towards something that you want knows this. That is aligned with the judgment. It's the ego that's telling you these stories of you can't do this alone, and how awful it is that you don't have people who agree with you, and disagreement and disharmony will be the undoing of you. That's the biggest obstacle you have. That's not your truth, Capricorn. So focus on the truth that is yours. I want to hear what this looks like specifically for you, so please comment below and share. Open up your heart to me. If you haven't liked or subscribed, do that now, please. I'm asking you from the bottom of my heart. And share this channel with anyone who is devoted to their self-exploration, self-improvement, development, and growth. I love you very much, Capricorn. Happy birthday and Happy New Year. Hi, Aquarius. Welcome to your January 2023 tarot reading. This is good for January sun... Oh my God, not January. Aquarius. Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. I hope you're checking out all your placements using the timestamps below. What are the messages for Aquarius? Oh! Aquarius, 6 of Cups. How beautiful. Whoa. 5 of Swords in reverse. Okay. One more card for Aquarius. Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Actually, I think we need to clarify that Ace of Pentacles real quick, Aquarius. What's that Ace of Pentacles in the advice? Whoa. 7 of Cups. Okay, that's clear. So Aquarius, what I am seeing for you, January, you are really revisiting childhood or the past, maybe a time in your past where things were, a time in your past that you have fond memories about, that you're nostalgic for. Maybe there's something that is revisiting you from your past that makes you feel nostalgic, whether it's a person, or you're in an old home, or you're with family members that you don't see normally, or even you're engaging in an activity that you haven't done in a while, maybe that used to bring you a great deal of joy when you were younger, and now you're reconnecting with your inner child, your inner self. I do hear that many of you, this is about making peace with your inner child, actually. Listening to your inner child, embracing your inner child, reparenting yourself in a way. I say that because we have the 5 of Swords here as your obstacle, which is so funny. It's in reverse, which tells me that the obstacle that you are seeing, Aquarius, is actually the very difficult obstacle of reconciliation, making amends, letting go of past resentments. So this is some sort of reconciliation regarding your childhood, and that could be with someone else in your childhood. I think it is for some of you. Maybe it is reconciling with a parent or a family member or a friend from your youth. Others of you, it's actually reconciliation with your inner child. I'm hearing, I'm sorry that I abandoned you. For some of you, I'm hearing, I'm sorry I didn't listen to you. I'm sorry that I gaslit you. I don't know who that is for. Comment below if that's you and you want to share. But there is just some sort of reconciliation that's happening for those of you who have maybe ignored the inner needs of your inner child, or written them off as being silly, or even just, have told yourself, like, I can't afford to think like that anymore. Like, that was a time where I believed in Santa. Like, that's an unreal time, and that person, that 10-year-old, is unreal. I can't, like, honor the needs of a child who didn't really know how the world worked, or how the world works, rather, which is really flawed thinking and probably something that you learned from an adult, not something that actually comes from your divine place of knowing. Same with if this is someone else. This isn't, an inner child. This is just a person from your past. There is a real need for reconciliation with this person, making amends, and they're coming up from your past, whether literally you're running into them or they're appearing in your dreams. They're coming up. They're on your heart. They're on your mind. They're coming up for you because there is something your guides want to lead you to reconciliation and making amends with this person, likely because it's an important part of the next steps on your journey to move forward in the way that you would like your life to move forward. I say that because we see the Ace of Pentacles in reverse here, and we see the Seven of Cups, which tells me that there is maybe a belief here, like there was a lost opportunity, and the belief that opportunity was lost is a complete illusion. There are a lot of other choices available to you. There are other choices, emotional choices, available to you. Meaning there are other ways to feel and other ways to engage with your feelings. Maybe you've only been engaging with the pain of this situation in the past, or the betrayal, or the anger. But which are great. It's great to engage with the shadow feelings of something, but we don't want to give those feelings too much power. We want to make sure they're heard. We want to use them for better understanding ourselves. But we don't want them to dictate our behavior in a way that limits us moving forward, that makes us smaller, that deprives us of future opportunities for joy and for connection and for growth, whether it's on your part or the part of someone else. Anything that jades us, I think is an important way to think about it, is something that isn't actually in our best interest or in the best interest of someone else in our lives. So if we're able to challenge ourselves to really consider other emotional choices, consider other ways to engage with our emotions, to have dialogue with our emotions, then I think what this is telling you is that will cause you to re-examine the opportunities that you do have, and what you're seeing maybe as a lost opportunity or a lack of opportunity will look differently to you in a way that then can allow for reconciliation and welcoming back that joy from your past, the nostalgia from your past, childlike hope and wonder and connection that maybe you haven't experienced in a long time. That is very closely connected to reconciliation and making amends, and it's definitely not possible without forgiveness. The key is, how do you almost kind of challenge yourself to step outside the comfort zone of resentment, to consider that there are other opportunities available to you. And that's what this advice is. It's like saying, lose yourself a little bit in the emotional nuance of things. Lose yourself a little in the emotional confusion of things. Don't resist your mind's instinct to try to simplify this into a very black and white thing, because it's not black or white. There's 7 shades here of ways to see this situation, and ways to move forward, and emotions to connect with and to honor. And you don't want to sacrifice one emotion for another, especially you don't want to sacrifice the light emotions for the dark ones. You want them all to be heard, and you want them all to weigh in to the future opportunities that you create for yourself and allow for yourself. What does this mean to you, Aquarius? I want to hear. this feels like a very powerful way to start the new year, cleaning the slate, starting with a fresh slate, and kind of cleaning up the past in a way with reconciliation. What a great way to start anything. That is a rebirth. Reconciliation, forgiveness is always a rebirth, and it really can be for you this year. If you haven't liked or subscribed, hit those buttons now. That would really mean everything to me. I'm asking from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much, Aquarius. I'm rooting for you as always. I love you, and I'll see you next time. Hi, Pisces. Welcome to your January 2023 tarot reading. This is good for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Pisces, we have the Eight of Swords. Knight of Swords, Pisces. Three of Swords. Ace of Swords in reverse. Wow, all swords, Pisces. You're really thinking a lot in January. I have a feeling that you're in that place now, actually, as well, whenever you're seeing. I mean, I'm recording this in December, but I think some of you are already moving into this really heavily thought-driven place, which Pisces is uncomfortable territory for you. It's not where you're strongest, because oftentimes what the mind says conflicts with the truth of the heart, and that is your center of knowing, Pisces. The message is pretty simple this month, and it is a real battle of the mind for you this month, and I think that there is so much to be learned and gained in this situation, and a really great way to start the year off in order to eliminate mental confusion and not be driven from a negative thought place, not to have that be the thing that drives you to action. So we see you in January, this is a place of really self-imposed restriction, imprisonment, victim mentality, which people love to say is a shadow side of Pisces in general. But yeah, really, really trapped in a prison of your own kind of negative thoughts. And what's making this difficult is that you're also incredibly action-oriented. Maybe there's something in particular that you feel ambitious about. You want to succeed in everything that you do, Pisces. There's a drive to succeed. Maybe not in everything you do for some of you, but for others of you, there is a drive to succeed, particularly in one thing in your life right now that's really top of mind, and you want to fly towards that finish line, and it feels impossible to do when you're also trapped, when your hands are tied behind your back, and you're the captor who holds the key to your own captivity. It's this weird thing of being like, I'm a victim, and also I know how powerful I am, and it leaves you feeling somewhere in the middle, like, well, what do I don't know what to do then. Because I'm so powerful that I can also keep myself trapped. I want to escape this, but also the prison that I've built is very powerful. It feels like these two parts of yourself are very much at odds. This kind of withdrawal and restriction. I think there's an element of comfort in this for whatever reason, Pisces. Maybe you've been in this prison for a minute, or you've been in it on and off in recent times, and so there is a familiarity there and a comfort level there. some sort of way that you've isolated yourself from other people, or told yourself that you're different, or that you're not a part of that community. And so there's like safety for some reason in this kind of withdrawal and restriction and isolation. Like, I'm better off being this way, or I'm different in some way, and so what other choices do I have? And that just is very hard for you, because you also want to succeed. You also want to take action, and that part of you feels so at odds with the part of you that's like, I'm different and there's nothing for me to do, and this world is not, I don't know how to function in this world. I don't know how to go through the motions of being here, of doing what I want to do, of following the rules here, or of being in certain relationships, or finding harmony with other people, or connecting to other people in a certain way. Whatever that is for you, there really is just this tearing within you of recognizing you're different, and then also wanting to race towards union. Recognizing you're different and isolating yourself because of it, and even telling yourself negative stories about it, and then at the same time being like, I belong with this city in the background, and I'll fight, I'll show everyone that actually they are just like me, and let me show them, let me fight for what is right for me, even though the world tells me I can't have it, or that I'm different in some way. I'm just noticing this card. I've never noticed this until now, but that there's a rainbow being reflected in the swords. I love that. Wow. The moon is out too. I think what's so important, Pisces, to remember is that whatever negative self-talk you are imprisoned within this month, it isn't what it seems to be. And this is an opportunity that you continue to put yourself in. You continue to put yourself in this place, because you know you'll grow from this place. You know that on the other side of the rainstorm, there is a rainbow, that there is the potential for unity. Wow. Right? Rainbows, we think about unity with rainbows, like the full color spectrum, harmony. Everything is united, and there's this beautiful sense of union and community in a rainbow. We're diverse and we're all one as well. And this card is about restriction and isolation, and singularity, and feeling sad in that singularity. And it's like, even in the moments when you do feel singular, when you feel sad in that singularity, remember that it's perceived, and that things look different in the nighttime. But the sun's going to rise, and whether you can see glimpses of the rainbow reflected even in like the words, the thoughts that you're thinking that are negative, there's even silver linings in that. There's even unity in your negative thinking. Things that actually unite you with other people, that make you feel like you do belong here. There's an opportunity for belonging in every expression of non-belonging. Wow. I think what's very important advice-wise, Pisces, is that it's good to honor this Knight of Swords desire for action. We know you're driven to succeed in this realm, whatever it is. We know that you maybe want to make swift judgment. Oh, this is the other thing. Sorry. Another important download that I'm getting is that this state of mind is causing you to make swift judgments that are probably likely not rooted in the truth. And that's how these two cards are relating to each other right now, is that there is this, because you have this proactiveness about you, there's this desire to just take all the thoughts that you're thinking as fact and act accordingly, to just immediately jump into action. But that's not necessarily your friend in this situation. That Knight of Swords impulsiveness is not necessarily your friend here. Now, the advice is the Three of Swords, and it's paired with the Ace of Swords. So that's telling me that what needs to be looked at here more than anything, more than trying to sort through why you're alone, or, you know, making this about other people, why this is happening to you and not them, that why, you know, the focus on maybe the victimhood mentality, and also how to fix it, this like uber focus on, I'm desperate to fix this immediately at whatever cost, I just got to take action, I got to do something. Instead, your focus needs to be on the hurt from the past that maybe you're carrying around with you. The guidance, to see this in the guidance position is like saying that's what needs your care right now. That's what needs your attention, your own heart. And that doesn't necessarily, we're not seeing cards of action here. We're not actually seeing you, you know, shifting your life in some like dramatic, crazy way. Instead, this is about looking inside and really examining the swords that are still piercing you right now, that maybe you've tried to ignore, but they're still there. And you know, you hurt every time you move in a certain direction. It's like, God, well, why am I hurting in that when I move in that direction? Maybe it's because there's a sword there. Maybe there's a sword there that I need to pull out. To see this with the Ace of Swords in reverse is like saying that there is heartbreak that is skewing your mental clarity right now. There is pain, there is sorrow, there is grief that you are carrying around that is skewing your mental clarity. It's actually causing very clouded judgment. That's why we see the Ace of Swords in reverse. Very clouded judgment. A need for inner clarity, and therefore a need to rethink ideas and rethink things, words that maybe you're speaking to yourselves, and words that you're also shouting at others or like proclaiming to others. Right now, your words are a mess, Pisces, and they're not necessarily aligned with truth because you're not in touch with the most powerful parts of yourself right now. You're very driven by the mind and the fearful shadow part of your mind. And so I think giving yourself grace and accepting that you're in this place and that it is a cycle, it's cyclical. This is a moon. The moon will, the night will end, a new day will dawn, and this will fade and go away. When you find yourself in the light and you have mental clarity and you're able to actually judge the situation properly, then you can take action. But don't succumb to this desperation to take impulsive action because you're in a prison and it's torturous right now. Your pain and heartbreak and things that your sorrow and grief you're carrying around in the past is skewing your mental clarity. It's clouding your judgment. So this is not the place to make any decision from. Accept that your vision is clouded right now and find whatever comfort you can in this state of clouded vision. And maybe if you want to work through that clouded vision, get very curious about the heartbreak and the pain that you're feeling. Get very curious about how past pain and things that hurt you in the past might now be fueling negative stories and negative talk that is creating this prison. That should give you a good direction where to move in, what to move towards to. Oh God, I can't talk. What to move closer to. There we go. Over this next month. especially if you feel incredibly stuck and restricted in your movement. This gives you some very clear steps to take. So I hope you take those steps with great bravery, Pisces. It takes courage to admit to yourself when your judgment is clouded at times, and to keep yourself from acting from that place, but really just to accept, like, I can't see things right now, and I'm under no pressure to change that right now. Maybe it's just about accepting what my vision is at the moment, and all I can do is get curious about why I'm seeing things this way. And the more curious you get about that, the more your judgment will become clearer. I love you, Pisces. I hope this was resonant. Please like and subscribe. Share this channel with anyone who is invested in their personal development. And please comment below. Let me know what's going on with you. I want to know from a purely self-centered place what other Pisces are going through right now, because this was definitely super